For the last few days, I have, and I think you feel the same, had a gut punch. And I've been trying to put my finger on it, and I've been trying to figure out what to say to you and how to say it. And I think I just have to say it like this. I don't know about you, but I'm tired. I am worn out. I am fed up. I've had enough. I am tired of exposing corruption, doing our homework, going overseas and having documents translated to make sure they're exactly right, presenting the evidence. We know what's happening, except then once we expose it, nothing happens. Nobody goes to jail. Nobody pays for a damn thing anymore. Nothing. If you and I did half the things that people in Washington do every day, you and I would go to prison. Clinton got away with it. Even the left knew that the Clinton Foundation was dirty. They sold uranium to our biggest enemy, Russia. Nothing. No. She can take confidential, top secret emails and put them on her server at her home, something you and I would go to prison for. We would be in prison for the rest of our lives. Not a big deal. Benghazi? No. Not only did we show you that we were gun running to a group in Syria that became ISIS, that's what we were doing in Benghazi. Not only that, but just the killing of a U.S. ambassador, and, might I point out, on Veterans Day, we abandon our troops. Did anything happen? Nope. Nope. Nothing. Nothing. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of actually being open and saying, okay, well, let's look into the spying on this presidential candidate. That's a pretty hefty charge. Were they doing it? And then finding out, yes, they were, and nothing happens. He was colluding with Russia. My gosh, that should be the biggest scandal of all time if that were true. If it wasn't true, and it was started, and evidence, paperwork even showed that they knew, all the way to the White House, you'd think that would be even a bigger story. Lying to the FISA courts, nothing. Creating an enemies list, nothing. Using our own intelligence agencies to assist in this operation. Spending millions of dollars on a claim they knew that wasn't true. The collusion on Russia, they knew it before the president was ever elected. The scandal. The loss of billions of tax dollars in Ukraine, no big deal. The lies and the collusion with the Obama administration in Ukraine, no big deal. Hunter Biden, forget about Burisma. What was that, $7 billion? Ha, who cares? Look at Hunter Biden and his father in China. Oh, but we don't have any proof of that. Yes, we do. We have all the proof anyone who cares to be honest needs. We have all the documents on his own frickin' laptop, which have been verified for people that were working with him, who were Democrats that had those same emails on their computer. Nothing. The scandal of our Justice Department, the deep state, which I didn't believe in 4 years ago. My gosh, you've got to be dead and probably voting in the last election if you don't see the deep state. The corruption of our media telling us to deny our own eyes. There's a car on fire, and they're like, oh, nothing's happening here. It's totally peaceful. There's a car on fire behind you, but we're not supposed to notice that. Good has been made evil, and evil is made good. They ask you now to don't believe your own eyes, believe us. Our country is being torn apart on the streets by radicals who are marching with no Trump, no Biden, no America signs. But don't worry about that. This is just a peaceful group. Really? Our children are being indoctrinated with all kinds of crap, telling them that they're racist because of the color they were born with. The teachers' unions completely out of control. The lies of Black Lives Matter, Inc., and no one seems to care. No one seems to care that Black Lives Matter is actually a corporation. That Black Lives Matter, on their own manifesto, said they wanted to destroy the nuclear family. But that's all fine. Antifa? No. They're not wild in the streets. It's only an idea. Yeah, kind of like Nazism was an idea. But yet, if you support the Constitution, if you just say, I want a fair and legal count, you're a radical. You're an anti-government zealot. I've had it. I've had enough. I almost didn't make the show last week because this is what I wanted to say to you. Except it would have been followed with, so see you later. Do you know how hard this is? I know you do because you're doing it in your own life. Do you know how hard it is to know this stuff, to be able to prove this stuff, and yet nobody seems to care? You're the bad guy. And then to tell yourself, remain peaceful with love in your heart. Let me get this out of the way. Nothing is over. CNN and Fox News, surprisingly enough, don't have the power to declare victory for anyone. The hypocrisy from the mainstream media and the left calling for Trump to concede and just roll over and accept the results is staggering. When you have Democrats, just so happy to accept their defeat. Really? When? When have they done that? When have they, in the last 20 years, accepted defeat? Not since George H.W. Bush. Al Gore launched a 36-day legal battle in 2000. I was in Florida at the time. He didn't fully concede until December. And even to this day, they still say George Bush stole the election. They delegitimized him the entire time. That was just a dry run for what they did to Donald Trump. To this day, Democrats claim Russia stole the 2016 election. To this day, they spent over $30 million to try to prove it. We spent, what, $100 and some phone time? And we showed you it wasn't true. And by the way, who's the governor of Georgia right now? Well, if you ask Stacey Abrams and many within the Democratic Party, it's Stacey Abrams. They didn't give up that. She still says that was an illegitimate election. She lost by 50,000 votes. It's illegitimate. I actually won. Democrats are the biggest sore losers of all time. But Trump, if he just doesn't roll over, you know what? Screw you. There is a process. And the Trump campaign has every right to see it through. It may or may not change the election, but the process matters. The law matters. Democrats and the media are doing everything in their power to convince you that what Trump is doing right now is not normal. It is. I told you before we went into this election how the left is organizing street protests to force Donald Trump into conceding. Well, did the right do that in 2000? Did we start burning things to the ground while the Russia investigation was going on? No. And you know what, Bill Barr? Where the hell are you? Where are you? I am sick and tired of everybody saying that you are so great. Oh, my gosh, he's just the fairest guy ever. Where the hell are you? We don't trust our justice system. What are you doing? The left, organized to force Trump's hand, is now moving into phase 2. New protests began last Friday. If you scroll through their list, They plan even more action going all the way into January. But we're in the eye of the hurricane right now. Do you notice there were everybody was set to riot on the streets, and it's almost like they got a phone call. No, hold back. Looks like maybe we can pull this thing off without any riots. It's weird how peaceful it's been, but I guarantee you the minute it looks like they have any evidence on this stealing of the election, or maybe it was just an honest mistake, you have any evidence, I guarantee you they will be in the streets rioting. I showed you earlier the linchpin for these protests to really kick into high gear would be if Trump refused to concede. The longer this drags out, the calls from the left to hit the streets are going to grow louder. Forget the fact that this is quite literally how the process works. A process Democrats take advantage of every time they lose. Stop lecturing me about trying to delegitimize the next president. It's not official until December 9th. There is a process outlined in the Constitution, and it is Donald Trump's duty to investigate this election. Yes, there are anomalies. Yeah, believe it or not. It's very important that we learn to separate the crap from the real questions. And there's a lot. I mean, we are neck deep in bull crap if you go out online. You're going to get, I would bet you that there is Russian operatives right now playing both sides. You're going to find out the Trump campaign is now focusing on all the wrong things, or maybe all the right things. Let's look at what the lawyers are focusing, because this is not a political process. Last Tuesday was a political process. Now it's constitutional. I have several questions that I think should be asked. Why were the poll watchers in Pennsylvania kept away from doing their jobs? One poll watcher said, and I quote, "We literally had no input and no ability to watch anything." Similar claims were made in Michigan. Although poll watchers were inside the rooms, they weren't allowed to be close enough to actually see anything. When word of this got out, take a look at what they did. Oh, yeah, but that's easily explained away. I've never seen anything like this before. Why would you cover the windows? Well, the city of Detroit, which is squeaky clean, told Fox News, which is so on our side, that they did this to protect voter information and filming ballots. But look how far away the actual vote counters are from the windows. How are you going to see that? I said over a month ago that it would be the changes in the rules, and I guarantee you this is where you're going to get them if there's a way to change the outcome of this from Biden, which really looked on election night like it was for Donald Trump, and then all of a sudden it went to Joe Biden. Well, maybe that's all legitimate. But let me tell you something. It's going to be in the changing of the rules in the middle of the game, shifting to mass mail-in ballots. I told you it would cause an insane amount of chaos and open the door to either real fraud or, at the very least, the appearance of fraud. Mail-in ballots are historically rejected. Tens of thousands are usually rejected. In Pennsylvania, the rate is always about 1%. If you're the first time filling out the ballot, that goes up to 3%, usually in Pennsylvania. It's usually due to human error, not filling it out correctly. In 2016, 266,208 mail-in ballots were cast in Pennsylvania. 2,534 were rejected. That's just under 1%. So what was it this year, when all these people did it for the very first time? Should be 3%. No, this year rejected the mail-in ballots was almost 30 times lower in Pennsylvania. Out of over 2.6 million ballots, they only found 951 that were bad. Yeah, that is really good. That's a rate of 0.03%. But don't worry, nothing to see here.